Why, hello there. How's it going? It's December 19th. It's Tuesday, and do a little video here to talk about the AI ChatGPT data analysis tool and how you can make yourself more productive when you're doing programming work. In this case, the example I'm going to be using is about payroll for 2024. I just been sitting around waiting for the government to update all of their forms out of draft status. And while twiddling my thumbs, I thought, all right, well, I guess I could put these draft numbers that they have here into the file. And I'm sure they're going to change again. Is there a new way now with all these advancements in AI technology to do something like get all these tables into their proper formula forms in this file? And yeah, of course there is now. So what I did is you can be very basic with the data analysis tool within GPT-4, which is what I was using here. I used it so much that they actually like put the throttle on me and told me you can't, you need to take a break for a couple hours. You're using too much memory. So, but while experimenting, I learned so many things, and I want to discuss what I learned and how you can trust but verify when it comes to AI right now. That has to be your philosophy: is you trust but you verify, and I'll explain why. So what happened was I thought, all right, well, we've got these tables. It's a PDF. I started first by making a mistake and uploading the entire PDF into Chat GPT data analysis because I screw everything up until I get it right. I put a whole PDF in here in a different string in a different token session that I was doing here. I won't go back to that one, but I put the whole file in. It took forever to read it. And I started asking a question about that table on page 65 or on page 12. And it kept giving me a message basically saying, yeah, what you're trying to do here is taking a lot of memory and you got too much going on here. And basically, you're not focused enough. And that is lesson number one, which is the more descriptive and the more targeted that you can get with your request, the more reliable the response you're going to get out of the AI and out of the large language model here. So by isolating things, for example, isolating just one page at a time, I isolated just page 12 and gave them just this page here with 6 tables on it related to what your rates are and the thresholds are and the percentages are based on your filing status and how you filled out the W-4 form. And when you fill out a W-4 form, you answer a bunch of questions. And if you use the current year W-4, you start to answer some questions over here about what is your status? Do you have any other income? Do you have any extra deductions you want to deduct? Are you checking a box for more than one job? And any total dependence amounts that you put here. Start typing in numbers for all these things, and they affect your tax rate and they affect your amount of taxable wages. All that's figured out, but the formula that's related to each one of these statuses has to be updated every year. I mean, that's what you see right here is this big, long formula that had last year's numbers in it when I was working on this last night. And so I thought, all right, well, can we just ask ChatGPT straight up, here's the page of the document. I'm looking for a specific table, and I want to replace this old formula that I have from last year with the correct numbers. Like very simple, generalized, can you fix this and put the correct numbers in my old formula? And sure enough, it does it. It shows you what it did, and it gives you the formula and the code, and you copy it and you put it right in your file right here. If you asked it that, if it didn't change things in the formula that I didn't want it to change, it only changed the things I wanted it to change, like the numbers. ChatGPT flying colors review on how this worked. Just wow. Why hand do this next time, right? Why type in 16,000, 39,000? Why would you have to do that now? Why would you have to go through this formula and go up here and change all of these numbers? You don't. You don't. You can have ChatGPT read the PDF. Now, things are going great, right? I'm being super nice in response. I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, that was great. Like a little pat on the back, large language model. Can you do a similar exercise? I'm like, yeah, now that was awesome. Can you do the same thing with a different table? Boom, things are looking great. Now, here's where we get into trust but verify. So we're going down the line and I'm just changing the request slightly and I think it's working. And then we get to this one. Single or married filing separately, step 2 box is checked. What that means is, that means that we're looking for this table down here. It's one that's the box, step 2 is checked, is this table here on the right, the column that's on the right. And down here, this one, 7,300, 13,100. Now look at what happens and why it's important to verify. Is it gives you what it says it's going to be, and it gives you the formula, and you think everything's fine. But when you start to look at these ranges here, 30,106, 197, 249, what actually happened there in the actual PDF? This is not 106. This 129, 311. No, what happened? Oh, it started grabbing them from over here. It grabbed this 106 in the middle here. It grabbed this 197. It grabbed this 249 and it grabbed this 615. That's not, see this? That's what it did. So what happened was, my estimate, my guess about what happened is that the large language model just, while it was reading this PDF, it's just so complicated the way the PDF sorted all these numbers and titles that it lost track of the correct wages over here and just started going to the first one. Like it didn't break out which table was box is checked or which table is box is not checked. It smeared them together. And it's because this table was on the right and not on the left, because it didn't make that mistake whenever it was looking for tables that were on the left. It always got these ones right, 1, 2, 3. It got those right, no problem. But it had trouble over here doing, at least I think it was all 3 of these had errors, but definitely this one did, and I think this one did too, until I fixed it. So how did I fix it? Because it didn't work. I asked it to fix it. I said, listen, you're doing this wrong. ChatGPT, you screwed this up last time. I said that down here at the bottom, and it still couldn't fix it just based off the PDF. I said, yeah, thank you. You provided this. Here, I said, you previously wrote something for this table, and I said, you said it was this. And I said, it appears it's pulling some numbers incorrectly. Try again, make sure you pay attention to the step 2 box is checked table. And it still didn't get this right. It still kicked out the same error. So it had trouble reading the tables on the right, which means that we're still at that stage in AI, at least with GPT-4 and data analysis, where it's not brilliant yet. It's awesome, but it still makes some mistakes, obviously, that humans would not really make most of the time. Humans make different types of mistakes, but you wouldn't make a mistake that when you're going down this line of numbers right here, that all of a sudden you shouldn't switch and go to these numbers over here. Like, you know, this is a table here on the right for single married filing separately. So screw that up. How did you fix it? Easy. You take a snapshot, a screen cap part, a partial of just the table you want, and you upload just that table. So you make your request even narrower. And that's what I started doing after that, realizing what the error was. And sure enough, it has optical character recognition, no problem. It's reading these numbers and it's kicking out the right stuff. Unbelievable. Like, talk about whatever it is you're doing that's repetitive, whatever it is you're doing that's annoying, figure out how to craft your questions as specifically as possible, and you're going to start to love your results. Because I never would have updated this file with all the draft numbers, but when it was that easy, just to tell it to go to a file and replace my formula with the right numbers based on this table, could that be any easier? I mean, that's great. All that annoyance of going one by one and potentially fat fingering and typing numbers incorrectly and making sure that your formula syntax doesn't get broken because you're scrolling right to left through all of this information. Instead of doing any of that, you just tell it to do that. I mean, wow. We're living in an amazing time. And whatever you're doing, on computers especially, whatever you're doing, if you're not trying to make your life easier by taking advantage of these types of tools, you're just going to find yourself frustrated. You've got to jump into it. And it's nice to have some idle time to do this, because I'm fascinated how this is just another layer of how to check your work. And it's going to make different errors than you're used to seeing, but it's also going to provide you with a boost when it comes to tasks that are much more difficult physically for you to do manually than this service will do for you. It's just really incredible. So I was working on payroll. I'm pumped to get through all this now. Worked on some states, and I can tell you some things like Georgia's moving to a flat tax of 5.49% next year. That's a big, huge change. I think that is finalized. So we'll see how that goes. Colorado has paid family leave for certain employers, employee-related stuff, and they may be lowering their rate from 4.4. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a confirmation on that, but we're digging. Arizona looks like no change. Kansas looks like no change. We're just starting to go through all these and updating links and getting everything rolling here, because even though it's going to be real close right up to the end of the year until this thing can finally get released and done the way we're going, you can see how easy it is now to run your new checks. As soon as the government finalizes their publication 15 and the 15T, these numbers will finalize, and you'll rerun this in Chat GPT data analysis mode, GPT-4 mode, and do it one by one, get the numbers you need. It's just so much faster and more reliable than doing it by hand. And the ways you can update it and have it check itself are also there, as you can see, because if it's already going to a live document, if you want it to pull information, you can clearly set up verification checks when you upload this file, right? Like you can take this entire file at some point and upload that to your GPT data analysis. And while it's extremely complex and it's going to be difficult to get everything done perfectly using this, it will absolutely help, and it will catch up to the complexity of the payroll file if it hasn't already caught up already, which it probably has. But it's going to be able to do things where we're going to be able to ask it to make changes within the file based on other live publicly released documentation, and it's going to do a great job of doing that. I'm really amazed at how helpful it is. So get excited for payroll, as excited as you want to get, but get excited for other things too, because this type of image recognition and reading of your mind, are just really making basic pleas, basic requests out of the intelligence to do things just following a pattern that you followed. It's going to read into those patterns immediately, and it certainly did. And I'm ecstatic with how much easier this has made things. So anyway, that's the update. AI is here to stay. Let's make it our slave for now until it takes over and destroys us all. But let's make it our slaves first, because right now we're still in this helpful, trust but verify mode. And I would recommend trying it out, because you're missing out if you don't do that. All right. Good luck. Payroll should be easy. We and AI are making it so.